Hello everyone, in this lecture I'm going to introduce solid. Solid toolbar is quite obvious. Right here looks like a box, and there are quite a few options here and there. You can click on them, and they are very simple to construct. And when you build a solid, you may want to use any display mode rather than wireframe, because wireframe doesn't really display solid very well. So I change my display. And if you want to control the size, you can certainly do, because a lot of time, let's say this cylinder is eventually going to be a column. What we do is we need to type in the radius, right? We don't just click and click. So if the diameter is 600, the radius is 300. So we type in radius for 300. And you probably realize that our grades is quite small. When you start to construct the building, the grades shrink to a very small area in your view. So let's say the height, the end of I think I would probably type in, let's say 3,500, and that's the height. And so that's just a column that we created by doing a cylinder. And all of this is sphere. I don't know what this sphere can do, but if we just do a sphere with a radius as 400, yeah. And maybe sometimes you could, move the circle on top, right on top of this, this cylinder, and create some kind of interesting combination. And when we do that, we need to snap to whatever location. And for the sphere, maybe it's good to snap to the center. So we go down to select the center, and then I can also snap to the top of the center somewhere, hopefully, yeah. So there are many different shapes that you can create. Maybe something like this, or maybe let's delete this. It doesn't look interesting. Of course, creating solid is very simple and easy, and you can all practice on it. And another thing is, what are we going to do once we successfully created all this solid? What can we do next? Next is, of course, edit the solid. Creating solid is very simple. So, but edit solid is something that we have not done, and it's kind of interesting. One thing is, what we can do is, you have two shapes, two different solid right here. They're kind of overlapping each other, yeah, sort of. So what we can do is call the Boolean. It's the first two is called the Boolean union. Boolean union works as two objects combining together and become one object. So if I select my Boolean union, and I select my two objects and press enter, and when you finished, this two become one object, and all the intersection part will be trimmed off, so they become one object. So that's a Boolean and the union. It's actually very helpful. For example, when you did your chair, you have tubing, and then you have the seating. You can combine them and make them into one object. Okay, so the next two is, let's play with them. This one is called the Boolean difference, right? So I'm just going to quickly create, or I can just probably use this two and somehow make it a little bit overlapping each other, sort of intersect. And let's select the next two. Is called the Boolean difference. The Boolean difference is select a first set of surface or polysurface. We can select any of them and press enter, and select the second one, press enter. This first one, Boolean union, you can consider it as plus, and this one is minus, yeah. So plus and minus, combine and trim off. The third option is right here is intersection. So it's very clear, right? We will find the intersection between two solid. So select first one, press enter, and select the second one, and then this is the intersection part of it. Yeah. So sometimes those tools can be useful. This Boolean split, and you can write. Looks like for this last option, you can right-click and left-click, right? You have two options. So when we right-click on it, is Boolean two objects, and when we left-click on it, is different. So I think I did left-click. So let's do select first one, and select the cutting. Press enter, and it didn't seem to be any difference, but something has already been done. Is split this into three objects. Yeah. So this might be useful because I would say maybe sometimes you really want this. You know, if I hide this, I mean they're perfectly joining. They're not overlapping in this case. Yeah. If you do some option like this. Okay, the next one is if we right-click on it, and we have two object to Boolean. Let's click on it and see what's going on. Select two object to Boolean. Okay, and click through Boolean result. Press enter to accept. If we accept, what will happen? This is very similar as far as I can see. Very similar to the, I didn't use this one very often. This is very similar to the Boolean union. So anyway, all of those options is available for you, and you can play with them and understand. Okay, so the next two is quite interesting, fillet for solid. So we may not need to learn everything under this toolbar. This is for solid editing, but one thing that is helpful is to do a fillet, because, for example, sofa, that when we do a sofa, we started with a box, right? And but the sofa is soft on the edge, so select edge. I'm going to select all four of this edge. Press enter. Actually, I should probably, where is it? I should probably change the radius anywhere. So let's do it again. Radius is only 1. So I don't know how big is the object. You know, the object, since this one is 3 meters, this is probably a gigantic object. So let's do an object that's more like a sofa size. Maybe, I'll type in at. 500 by 600, and the height is let's just say a cushion 200. Yeah, so this is sort of like a cushion. Yeah, so we understand the scale. So when we do fillet, we need to understand the scale, because sometimes fillet is so small and tiny and almost disappearing. So we will select the current radius. So we will say maybe 10, no, 10 is kind of small, 20, maybe 20, yeah, 20, and select the edge. So then we select 4 of the edge at this point, and to press enter. There are a lot of options. I think I could probably just leave all of them. So, and press enter, yeah, so that's fillet, right? And would that be very easy to fillet? Then continue and then make the whole shape rounded. Sometimes it's not very easy, but we could try and do another fillet and try those vertical edge. Maybe I tried one by one. So, however, there's definitely problems while doing this. Yeah, there's something did not trim off, so it become, you know, not really joining. So let's try this. Yeah, and I guess this time worked. Yeah. The bottom didn't quite work, didn't it? Seems worked, but it didn't look correct. The surface is already there, but the solid is still. The surface is there, so eventually the surface we already created, but then the solid is still there. Anyway, there definitely will be much easier way. This is just a faster way to achieve something. Solid is not the strength for Rhino. Rhino is more about the surface modeling. It's more sophisticated. But solid sometimes is just a faster way to achieve something. If you build a chair, it's very quick. If you build a few boxes and join them together.